The neon sign of O'Malley's Bar and Grill buzzed quietly in the cool Montana evening, its red glow reflecting off the patches of snow still lingering in the parking lot. Inside, Jack Thompson wiped down the ancient wooden bar counter with practiced ease, occasionally glancing up at the muted TV showing the evening news. 20 years as a Marine followed by 5 years of bartending had given him an uncanny ability to sense when something interesting was about to happen. Tonight felt different. The usual crowd had already settled in for the evening. Bob from the auto shop occupied his regular corner stool, nursing a beer while complaining about the latest truck he had to fix. 3 tables were filled with workers from the nearby lumber mill, their loud laughter echoing off the walls as they shared stories about their day. Tom Miller, whose family had ranched in the valley for 3 generations, sat near the window, occasionally peering out at the darkening sky. "Strange weather we're having," Tom commented, his weathered face scrunching up in confusion. "Never seen clouds move like that before." Jack looked up from the glass he was cleaning. Through the window, he could see unusual patterns of light dancing across the clouds. They were unlike anything he'd seen in his 53 years of life, and he'd seen plenty during his time in the service. Probably just the northern lights acting up. Bob offered from his corner, though he didn't sound convinced. Or maybe the government's testing something new at that base over in Idaho. The lights grew brighter, casting an eerie blue glow through the windows. The conversations in the bar gradually died down as more people noticed the unusual phenomenon. Even the sports highlights on TV couldn't compete with the light show happening outside. "Should we be worried?" asked Mary, the evening waitress, as she set down a tray of empty bottles behind the bar. Jack shrugged, but his right hand instinctively moved closer to the baseball bat he kept under the counter. Old habits died hard. "Probably nothing," he said, "but keep your phone handy just in case." The lights outside intensified, and now there was a low humming sound that made the bottles on the shelves vibrate slightly. A few of the younger patrons pulled out their phones to record the phenomenon, while the older crowd exchanged knowing looks. In a small town like this, anything out of the ordinary usually meant trouble. "Hey, Jack," Tom called out, his voice steady despite the growing tension. "Remember that time in '98 when everyone thought they saw a UFO, but it turned out to be Bill Johnson's barn roof that got caught in the wind?" The memory brought a smile to Jack's face. Poor Bill never lived that down. His roof made the local news and everything. But this was different from Bill's flying roof. The humming grew louder, and the blue light became so bright that people had to shield their eyes. The TV signal started breaking up, showing only static, and the lights in the bar flickered ominously. "Maybe we should call someone," Mary suggested, her hand clutching her phone. "And tell them what?" Bob chuckled nervously. "That the sky's putting on a light show over O'Malley's. They'd think we've all had too much to drink." Jack remained silent, his eyes fixed on the window. The Marine in him was calculating exits and defensive positions, even though his rational mind told him he was overreacting. Still, something about this situation felt eerily familiar, like countless nights in foreign lands when the calm before the storm meant something big was about to happen. The lights suddenly concentrated into 3 distinct points, bright as miniature suns, hovering directly over the bar's parking lot. The humming reached a crescendo, and then everything went quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that Jack remembered from his military days. The deafening silence right before all hell broke loose. "Well," he said, breaking the tension as he reached for a fresh glass and started polishing it. "Whatever's happening, at least we got enough beer to handle it." Little did Jack know, as he stood calmly behind his bar, that this ordinary Tuesday night was about to become the most extraordinary evening in human history, and it would all start with a simple drink order. The front door of O'Malley's swung open with a creak that seemed louder than usual in the strange silence. Everyone in the bar held their breath as 3 tall figures ducked to enter through the doorway. They were blue. Not the kind of blue you'd get from being cold, but a deep ocean blue that seemed to shimmer under the bar lights. Each visitor stood at least 7 feet tall, with bodies that looked like they were made of lean muscle. Their faces were almost human-like, except for their large, almond-shaped eyes that glowed with a soft silver light. "Well," Bob whispered from his corner, "they definitely ain't from Idaho." The tallest of the three aliens stepped forward, holding what looked like a small silver box. The device hummed for a moment, and then the alien spoke in perfect English, though the voice sounded like it was coming from a very expensive car's GPS system. "Greetings, esteemed operators and patrons of this cultural exchange facility. We come in peace and wish to participate in your traditional social bonding rituals." Jack Thompson, who had seen enough strange things in his Marine days to stay calm, simply grabbed 3 clean glasses and set them on the bar. "Welcome to O'Malley's. What can I get you folks?" The aliens looked at each other, their silver eyes blinking in unison. The second one consulted what appeared to be a small tablet. "According to our research, the customary first drink in such establishments is something called a cold one." Tom Miller couldn't help but laugh. "They've been watching beer commercials." "That we have," the third alien confirmed, looking pleased. "We have studied many of your television broadcasts to understand Earth culture. We find your commercials most educational." The aliens made their way to the bar, moving with an odd grace that made them look like they were floating rather than walking. They carefully arranged themselves on 3 bar stools, which creaked under their weight. "3 cold ones, coming up," Jack said, pulling out bottles of the local brewery's best beer. He popped the caps off with practiced ease and placed them in front of his unusual customers. "First round's on the house. It's not every day we get visitors from, well, wherever you're from." "We are representatives of the Galactic Council," the first alien announced proudly, picking up the beer bottle with extreme care, as if it might explode. "I am First Contact Specialist." Here the alien made a sound like wind chimes in a hurricane. "But you may call me Blue." The other 2 aliens introduced themselves with equally unpronounceable names, before settling on Tall and Slim as their Earth nicknames. Mary, who had been frozen in place since the aliens entered, finally found her voice. "The Galactic Council chose a bar in Montana for first contact." Blue nodded enthusiastically. "Based on our analysis of Earth broadcasts, these establishments are the primary centers of human cultural exchange, diplomatic negotiations, and conflict resolution. Is this not correct?" "Well, they're not entirely wrong." Tom chuckled, raising his glass in a toast. "More problems have been solved in deals made in bars than in fancy offices, that's for sure." The aliens watched the toasting gesture with fascination. Tall pulled out the tablet again, scrolling quickly. "Ah yes, the ritual of cheers. We must clink our vessels together to ensure good fortune and seal our friendship." They raised their bottles with such careful precision that everyone had to smile. The sound of glass clinking together was followed by 3 identical looks of surprise as the aliens took their first sip of Earth beer. "This fermented grain beverage," Slim said, staring at the bottle in wonder, "it creates a most unusual sensation." "Just wait till they try the hot wings," Bob muttered, making several locals snicker. Just as the situation was starting to feel almost normal, or as normal as having aliens in O'Malley's could be, the front door burst open again. This time, a 4th alien stormed in, wearing what was clearly some kind of uniform, and looking anything but happy. The uniformed alien marched up to the bar, their silver eyes flashing with what looked like annoyance. Unlike the other 3, this one wore something that resembled a military uniform, complete with shiny badges that caught the light. "First Contact Team Beta, you have deviated from standard protocol," the newcomer announced, their translator making the voice sound like an angry GVS. "I am Security Officer," another impossible sound. "And this is not an approved first contact location." "We'll call you Red," Jack said calmly, noting the reddish tint to this alien's blue skin. "And can I get you a drink? Might help you relax a bit." Red's eyes narrowed. "I do not require your primitive fermented beverages. I am here to ensure proper diplomatic procedures are followed." Blue, who was halfway through their second beer, spoke up. "But security officer, we are following protocol. According to Earth broadcasts, this is how humans forge their strongest alliances. Observe." They turned to Tom Miller. "Would you like to engage in the ritual of buying the next round?" Tom grinned. "Now that's what I call diplomacy." Mary brought over a plate of hot wings that nobody had ordered. "On the house," she said. "Can't have drinks without some proper bar food." The three friendly aliens stared at the wings with intense curiosity. Tall consulted their tablet again. "Ah, yes, the legendary buffalo wings. Though we are confused, our research shows that buffaloes do not possess these appendages." Bob nearly choked on his beer laughing. "Just wait till they hear about hot dogs." Slim reached for a wing with scientific precision, copying exactly how they'd seen Tom eat one. Their eyes widened at the first taste, and the silver glow brightened considerably. "This combination of heat and flavor, it's remarkable. We have nothing like this in the entire galaxy," Slim declared, reaching for another wing. Red watched in horror as their fellow aliens enthusiastically devoured the wings, occasionally stopping to drink beer when the heat became too much. "This is completely inappropriate. We are supposed to be evaluating Earth's civilization level, not participating in their primitive consumption rituals." "Primitive?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "Those wings have a secret recipe that's been passed down through 3 generations of O'Malley's owners. Nothing primitive about that." Blue nodded enthusiastically. "And observe how they have mastered the art of temperature manipulation in beverages. The bottles are kept at precisely the optimal temperature for consumption." As if to demonstrate, Blue lifted their beer bottle and accidentally performed a perfect beer commercial move. Condensation running down the bottle, catching the light just right. Several locals applauded. "You know what this calls for?" Tom stood up, grinning. "Karaoke." The 3 friendly aliens perked up immediately. "Ah, yes. The ritual of public singing despite lacking professional musical training. We have studied this extensively." Before Red could protest, Blue was already scrolling through the karaoke machine selection, their silver eyes bright with excitement. "Look, they have Sweet Home Alabama, just like in the documentaries about Earth's cultural gatherings." "Those weren't documentaries," Red muttered, but nobody was listening anymore. As Blue, Tall, and Slim attempted to sing along with Lynyrd Skynyrd, their translators creating an oddly beautiful harmony with the music, Jack noticed something interesting. The locals weren't sitting separately anymore. They had moved closer to the aliens, teaching them the chorus, explaining the lyrics, and sharing more wings. Red watched from the corner, their posture rigid with disapproval. But there was something else in their silver eyes now, a hint of confusion, maybe even curiosity. "You know," Jack said, sliding a beer toward Red, "sometimes the best way to understand a civilization is to stop evaluating and start participating." Red looked at the beer, then at their colleagues who were now attempting to understand why Sweet Home was Alabama specifically, and for the first time, their stern expression wavered slightly. Red still hadn't touched the beer Jack had offered, but they had moved closer to the bar, watching with growing concern as their fellow aliens became increasingly involved in human customs. Blue, Tall, and Slim had just finished their 3rd karaoke song, a surprisingly decent rendition of "Don't Stop Believin'," and were now learning about the ancient Earth tradition of bar nuts. "These salted legumes," Tall announced, grabbing another handful, "are clearly designed to increase liquid consumption. Brilliant strategy." "That's right," Bob agreed, sliding the bowl closer. "Can't have just one handful. That's basic bar science right there." Red's patience finally snapped. They stood up, their uniform glowing slightly in the dim bar light. "This has gone far enough. You are completely missing the point of our mission." The karaoke machine fell silent. Even the regular background noise of the bar seemed to dim as Red stepped into the center of the room. "We are here to evaluate Earth's readiness for galactic civilization," Red declared, their translator making the words sound like an angry teacher scolding a classroom. And so far, all I see is a primitive species obsessed with fermented drinks, spicy bird appendages, and improper musical performances. Jack calmly continued wiping glasses behind the bar. Seems to me like your friends are doing plenty of evaluating. They're just using a more hands-on approach. Yeah, Tom added, standing up from his seat. They're learning about who we really are, not just checking boxes on some space clipboard. Red's skin took on a deeper purple tinge, apparently the alien equivalent of getting red in the face with anger. Who you really are. Let me tell you what our preliminary scans show about your species. You still fight wars over imaginary lines on your planet's surface. You haven't even colonized your own moon permanently. Your fastest ships can barely reach the edge of your solar system. Blue tried to interrupt, but security officer, we've observed many impressive things. Silence. Red's translator crackled with the force of the command. Your judgment has been compromised by these. They gestured at the empty beer bottles. Local intoxicants. Mary, who had been quietly observing until now, stepped forward. Now hold on just a minute. Those local intoxicants have been bringing people together and helping them understand each other for thousands of years. Exactly my point. Red sneered. You resolve your disputes with violence and chemicals. Your entertainment broadcasts are full of it. Fighting in these establishments is practically your species' pastime. The locals exchanged glances. There was truth in what Red was saying. Bars did sometimes see their share of scuffles. But the alien was missing the bigger picture entirely. Tom walked up to Red, his weathered face serious but calm. You know what I see? I see 3 of your people who came here ready to learn, who put aside their prejudices and try to understand us. And I see one of you who's already decided what we are without giving us a real chance. The decision is not yours to make, Red declared. By my authority as security officer, I am terminating this contact session. Our preliminary report will recommend Earth remain classified as a Class 3 primitive civilization, unsuitable for galactic integration. Blue, tall, and slim looked devastated. They had genuinely been enjoying themselves, and more importantly, they had seen something in humans that their scans and protocols hadn't revealed. Jack set down the glass he'd been cleaning with a quiet but firm clink. Now, where I come from, when somebody insults your entire species, there's usually a proper way to settle things. Red's silver eyes gleamed. Are you suggesting violence? You would only prove my point about your primitive nature. Not violence, Tom said, cracking his knuckles. Just a good old-fashioned test of skill and character. Way I see it, if we're so primitive, you shouldn't have any trouble proving your superiority. The air in O'Malley's grew thick with tension. Even the jukebox seemed to be holding its breath, having coincidentally stopped between songs. Red looked around the bar, seeing the determined faces of the humans and the uncertain expressions of their fellow aliens. In that moment, everyone present knew that this wasn't just about a bar fight anymore. This was about humanity's place in the galaxy, a test of skill. Red's translator couldn't quite capture the mix of amusement and contempt in their voice. And what exactly did you have in mind? Jack stepped out from behind the bar, his movements calm but purposeful. 20 years of breaking up bar fights had taught him how to handle tense situations. Simple. We set up a fair contest. Best 2 out of 3 rounds. If we win, you give Earth a proper evaluation based on who we really are, not just your scans and protocols. And if I win? Red asked, their silver eyes glowing brighter. Then we accept your judgment without argument, Tom said, and you can put in your report how primitive we are, fighting in bars and all that. Blue, who had been watching the exchange with growing interest, spoke up. According to my research, this is a traditional Earth method of conflict resolution. They call it putting your money where your mouth is. Although no actual money needs to be involved. Tall added helpfully, checking their tablet. It's what humans call a figure of speech. Red looked around the bar, noting how the humans had positioned themselves, not aggressively, but ready for action. Their security training kicked in, analyzing potential threats. The older human, Jack, moved like a trained warrior. The rancher, Tom, had the solid stance of someone used to physical labor. Even the auto mechanic, Bob, had hands that spoke of real-world experience. But they were still just humans. Primitive, physically inferior humans. "Very well," Red declared. "I accept your challenge. Our species is naturally stronger, faster, and more evolved than yours. This will serve as an excellent demonstration of why you're not ready for galactic society." "Now hold on," Mary interrupted, pointing to the no fighting sign on the wall. "We do this proper or not at all. Jack, what are the rules?" Jack nodded, appreciating Mary's intervention. "Standard O'Malley's rules. No weapons, no permanent damage. Fight stops when someone yields or can't continue safely. 3 rounds. Different challenges each round." "Different challenges." Red's translator crackled with surprise. "That's right," Tom grinned. "Can't judge a species by just one type of contest. Now can you? Seems only fair to test different skills, just like your evaluation was supposed to do." Red considered this for a moment. Their species was superior in every physical way. What did it matter what type of contest these humans chose? "Agreed. Name your challenges." "First round," Jack announced. "Arm wrestling. Pure strength, nice and simple." Red's skin rippled with confidence. Their species had twice the muscle density of humans. "Second round," Tom continued, "speed and agility. Ring the bell." He pointed to the old ship's bell hanging over the bar, traditionally rung for last call. "First one to get through the bar crowd, and ring it wins." The aliens looked at the crowd of locals, who had begun arranging themselves and the furniture into a makeshift obstacle course. "And the third round?" Red demanded. Jack smiled. "Third round, if we need it, is balance. Last one standing on a mechanical bull wins." The bar erupted in cheers and laughter. Bob was already heading to the storage room, where O'Malley's kept its infamous mechanical bull, usually brought out only on special occasions. "This is ridiculous," Red protested. "These aren't proper tests of civilization. They're tests of adaptability, strength, skill, and thinking on your feet," Jack explained. "Pretty good measures of any civilization, I'd say." Blue, Tall, and Slim had huddled together, frantically searching their tablets for information about mechanical bulls. Their silver eyes grew wider with each video they found. "Do you accept the terms?" Tom asked Red formally. Red drew themselves up to their full height, towering over the humans. "I accept. But I want it noted in the official record that Earth's first contact procedure involved challenging a galactic security officer to a bar fight." "Noted," Jack said solemnly, though his eyes twinkled. "Now let's clear some space for round 1. Mary, better put the good glasses away. Bob, get the first aid kit out just in case." As the locals began preparing the bar for the contest, Blue leaned over to whisper to their fellow aliens. "Should we tell Security Officer Red about the Earth videos we watched about bar fighting techniques?" "Absolutely not," Slim replied, already recording with their tablet. "This is going to be much more educational." The first round started with arm wrestling. Tom stepped up as Earth's champion, rolling up his flannel sleeve to reveal an arm shaped by decades of ranch work. Red confidently took the opposite seat at the small table Mary had set up in the center of the bar. "Remember," Jack said, standing as referee, "elbows on the table, clean match. Best of 3 pins wins the round." Blue had been designated as the alien referee, their tablet ready to record the historic moment. Beginning round 1 of the Earth Evaluation Physical Challenge Series, the bar fell silent as Tom and Red clasped hands. Red's blue skin made their superior muscle density obvious. Their forearm was nearly twice the size of Tom's. "Ready, begin," Jack announced. Red's arm muscles rippled as they immediately applied maximum force. To everyone's surprise, Tom's arm didn't move an inch. The rancher's face remained calm, almost bored, as Red's silver eyes widened in confusion. "Something wrong," Tom asked casually. "We can start whenever you're ready." "I am applying sufficient force to bend steel." Red's translator crackled with frustration. Tom nodded. "That's nice. My turn now." What happened next was a lesson in leverage and technique over raw power. Tom shifted his grip slightly, adjusted his elbow position, and with a smooth motion that spoke of countless past victories, slammed Red's arm down on the table. The bar erupted in cheers. Red demanded an immediate rematch, certain the first loss was a fluke. 2 minutes later, they had lost again, learning the hard way about human grip strength built from years of practical work. "Round 1 to Earth," Blue announced excitedly. Beginning round 2. The Bell Challenge. The locals had arranged tables, chairs, and themselves into a complex obstacle course leading to the bell. Red studied the path, their superior alien reflexes giving them confidence. "On your mark." Jack raised his hand. "Get set. Go." Red shot forward with incredible speed, smoothly weaving between the first few obstacles. But they had made a crucial mistake. They were following a straight-line path to the bell, not accounting for the unpredictable movements of the bar patrons who were part of the course. Bob, supposedly just shifting his weight on his bar stool, forced Red to dodge left. Mary, carrying an empty tray, created a high obstacle that required awkward ducking. Each local seemed to randomly adjust their position just enough to disrupt Red's calculated path. Meanwhile, Jack took a completely different approach. Instead of fighting through the crowd, he slid across the bar counter, used a bar stool as a springboard, and caught the bell rope with a practiced grab that sent a clear ring through the bar. "Round 2 to Earth," Tall announced, while Slim continued recording everything with barely contained excitement. Red's skin had turned a deep purple with frustration. The final challenge. The mechanical device of balance. Bob wheeled out the mechanical bull, its well-worn saddle telling stories of countless failed attempts to master it. Red scanned it with their advanced alien technology. "This primitive device has only a few basic movement patterns. My superior sense of balance will easily—" "What are you doing?" Jack was typing something into the bull's control panel with a mischievous grin. "Just activating old Betty's special protocol. We save it for professional riders who get too cocky." What followed was 2 minutes of what could only be described as mechanical rodeo chaos. Red's advanced alien biology helped them stay on for an impressive 45 seconds before they went flying into the cushioned safety mats. When it was Jack's turn, he calmly mounted the bull, took hold of the rope with one hand, and proceeded to demonstrate why he'd been the unofficial mechanical bull champion of 3 counties for 15 years straight. "Round 3 and match to Earth," Blue shouted over the cheering crowd. Official note: human adaptability and practical experience significantly exceeded preliminary scan estimates. Red lay on the safety mat, staring at the ceiling, their silver eyes wide with disbelief. "How? Our species is physically superior in every measurable way." Tom offered Red a hand up. "That's your problem right there. You were measuring things that don't matter much in a real contest. Sometimes being clever, experienced, and too stubborn to give up beats being naturally stronger or faster." Red sat at the bar with an ice pack on their shoulder, finally sipping the beer Jack had offered hours ago. The security officer's uniform was wrinkled, their perfect posture now slightly slumped, but their silver eyes showed something new: respect. "I don't understand," Red said, watching the humans and their fellow aliens celebrating together. "Our scans showed humans were technologically inferior, physically weaker, and culturally divided. How did you manage to win all 3 challenges?" Jack leaned on the bar, sliding a plate of wings closer to Red. "Maybe you were looking at the wrong things. Humanity's strength isn't in our muscles or our technology. It's in our ability to adapt, to learn from experience, and to work together." "Like these wings," Bob added, grabbing one. "Sure, they're just cooked chicken with sauce. But humans took something simple and turned it into an art form through thousands of tiny improvements. That's what we do. We take what we have and make it work better." Blue, who was now wearing a borrowed cowboy hat slightly too small for their alien head, approached with their tablet. "Security officer, I've completed my cultural assessment report. Would you like to review it?" Red's translator crackled with a sigh. "I suppose I must. What did you conclude from this unconventional first contact?" Blue's eyes gleamed with excitement as they read. "Earth humans demonstrate remarkable adaptability and innovative problem-solving. While their technology may be less advanced, their practical application of knowledge and their ability to improvise solutions suggests high potential for galactic integration." Tall and Slim joined in, their tablets displaying various recordings from the evening. "We've documented 47 unique instances of human ingenuity," Slim reported, "including their beverage cooling systems, their use of music for social bonding, and their remarkable ability to turn competition into cooperation. And don't forget their secret weapon," Tall added, holding up a wing. "If humans can make something this delicious from just a bird appendage and some spices, imagine what they could contribute to galactic cuisine." Mary, who had been listening while serving drinks, laughed. "Just wait till you try our desserts. Anyone up for some apple pie?" Tom stood up, raising his glass. "I'd say this calls for a toast to new friends and future adventures among the stars." The whole bar joined in, humans and aliens alike raising their glasses. Even Red participated, their stern demeanor finally cracking into what might have been a smile. "Very well," Red announced, setting down their beer. "I will amend my report to the Galactic Council. Earth will be classified as a Class 1 civilization, ready for full galactic integration, with one condition." The bar fell silent, waiting. O'Malley's Bar and Grill must be designated as the official Earth embassy for all future first contact situations. Red's translator somehow managed to convey dry humor. "It seems to be uniquely qualified for diplomatic relations." The celebration that followed would be talked about in O'Malley's for years to come. The karaoke machine got another workout, with Red surprising everyone by doing a passionate rendition of "My Way." Blue, Tall, and Slim learned the electric slide. The locals taught the aliens about high fives, though the height difference made it more like high sevens. A week later, a small addition appeared under O'Malley's neon sign: "Official Galactic Embassy of Earth. All species welcome." The regulars didn't make a big deal about it, just like they didn't make a big deal about the occasional blue-skinned visitors who would stop by for wings and beer. Jack kept the baseball bat under the counter, but added a small plaque above the bar that read, "First Contact Rule Number 1. Sometimes the best way to prove you're civilized is to be ready for a good bar fight." And if the karaoke machine now included some popular songs from other planets, well, that was just good business sense. After all, music, beer, and hot wings had turned out to be pretty universal languages. As for Red, they became a regular visitor, usually dropping by on Friday nights. They never did master the mechanical bull, but they made up for it by becoming the galaxy's biggest fan of Earth's spicy foods and country music. Some said it wasn't the most dignified way for humanity to join galactic civilization, but anyone who had been there that night would tell you it was perfectly human.